My girlfriend said, "Our open relationship is over." I replied, "We can pause." Then I tracked her tote, saved proof, moved my half, set mediation, notified HR, kept the cat. I just smiled because the hotel key and ring photo were only step 1. Original post, I am 30. My girlfriend is 29. We have been together 5 years, no kids, 1 cat. We signed a lease together last fall, 2 bedrooms, cheap carpet, a view of a brick wall. We opened the relationship last winter after a long talk. We wrote rules in a notes app. No coworkers, no sleepovers, tell each other within 24 hours, monthly check-ins. If one of us says pause, we pause. At first it felt simple. We were honest. We compared notes like travel stories. I met someone for coffee and told her that night. She had a drink with a classmate from her yoga course and told me. We laughed at bad dates. We made dinner and tried to be grown. The shift was quiet. She started calling the rules vibes instead of rules. She said the word trusting like a dare. She smiled at her phone more and set it face down. She changed her passcode. I told myself not to panic. Open is not the same as chaos. I repeated that in my head like a line from a manual. The trigger was a selfie she sent from a rooftop bar. It was a Tuesday. She said it was a women's night out with her team. The time stamp said 9:18 p.m. In the glass behind her, I saw the reflection of a man's shoulder and a plaid sleeve. The bar she tagged runs a trivia night on Tuesdays, not a team event. I looked through our rules. No coworkers. Tell each other within 24 hours. She told me nothing when she got home. She smelled like smoke and mint. The cat followed her and then ran under the bed. 2 days later, I did laundry and found a hotel key card in the pocket of her tote. It had the same logo as the rooftop bar's attached hotel. I put the card on the counter and took a picture. I slid it into the silverware drawer. I did not confront her. I felt the old urge to make a scene. I swallowed it. I needed facts, not heat. That night she said, out of nowhere, "Our open relationship is over." We were eating pasta. The cat sat by her chair. She said it like a line she had practiced alone. My chest felt hollow and loud at the same time. I asked, "Why?" She said, "I don't feel safe in it anymore. It makes me anxious. I want monogamy now." She looked at me like I should clap. I said, "Okay, we can pause." She added, "And I don't want you seeing anyone you met during open. Delete them, all of them." She did not say anything about who she was seeing. My fork touched the plate and clicked. I did not argue. I nodded. I cleaned the plates. I went to the bedroom and opened the Notes app. I scrolled to the rules. I added 1 line to the bottom for myself. If you end it for both. Then I opened my laptop. I pulled the lease. I pulled the handbook from her company website. I searched fraternization. A policy came up with simple language. No relationships with direct reports. Report conflicts of interest. I did not know if her person was a direct report. I needed proof. I bought 2 small air tags the next day. One went in the lining of her gym tote. One went into the pocket of our cat's carrier. If she tried to take the cat during a fight, I wanted to know. I also opened a folder called Record and put in screenshots and dates. I felt like I was building a clean shelf in a messy garage. Update 1 on Friday, she said she had to stay late for a quarterly close. I tracked the tote. At 7:40 p.m., it pinged near the hotel attached to the rooftop bar. At 8:05, it moved to a steakhouse 2 blocks away. I called a friend who works nights and asked if he could sit in a booth for 20 minutes. He said yes. I drove downtown. I parked across from the steakhouse and waited for the air tag to stop moving. Through the window, I saw her at a corner table. Across from her sat a man I had met at her office holiday party. His name is Ethan. He is married. He wore a ring then. He wore it now. He is in sales like her, but on a different account. Not her boss, not a direct report, but still a coworker, still breaking our rule. They leaned in. They were not touching. They did not need to. The distance between them did the talking. A server set down 2 plates. She laughed in a way I had not heard in months and turned her face away like the laugh had to be hidden to be good. I walked in. The host asked if I needed a table. I said I was meeting someone and moved past. I stood by their table. She went still. Ethan put his hand on the table, palm flat, like he was steadying a picture frame. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Voice light, eyes not. Confirming, I said. I set the hotel key card on the table, the one from her tote pocket. I set my phone down with a photo of our rules open, the line that said no coworkers, 24 hours notice. We paused, I said. "You ended open on Tuesday. You did not end this." I looked at Ethan. "Do your wife and HR know?" I asked. He winced like a light had hit his eyes. "This is inappropriate," he said. It came out thin. "I am not here to yell," I said. "I am here to be clear. You asked for monogamy while you were already seeing someone at work. You broke the rule that built trust. That is not open. That is secret. I will not live inside secret." She stared at the key card. Her mouth opened, then closed. She said, "It was only a drink." I looked at the plates, at the empty bread basket, at her lipstick on the wine glass. "Drinks look heavy," I said. Ethan stood. "We should go," he said to her. Then to me, "You need to respect her boundaries." I had nothing left to respect in this room. I picked up the key card and the phone. I took one photo from waist level, them, the plates, the ring. I said, "You can come home tonight to talk about logistics, or you can text me tomorrow for a time to pick up your things. This is over." I walked out. I did not sleep. I took the cat's carrier into the bedroom and put it by the door. The cat climbed inside and blinked at me. I packed a go bag. I felt the floor of my mind settle. Update 2, in the morning I called a lawyer who offers short consults for tenants. She told me to not move out. To not block her from the apartment, to protect my things, to write down the timeline, to talk only about logistics in writing. She said, "Open or not, the lease is what matters today." I froze my credit. I changed my cloud password. I moved half our shared savings into my own account and left half. I put together a simple list of what I owned. I labeled the backs of the TV and my computer tower with my initials in masking tape. I took photos of serial numbers. At noon, she came back. She did not act sorry. She acted tired. "We can salvage this," she said. "Open was a phase. I realized I want real love with you, but you need to delete those apps and stop seeing anyone you saw before. I need that to feel safe." I said, "Open ended on Tuesday. You slept with a coworker on Wednesday." She flinched and said, "You are obsessed with rules." I said, "Rules are the only way open works. Without them, we are just lying." Her face went hard. "You are punishing me for wanting monogamy," she said. "That is abuse." I did not take the bait. I said, "We will divide the apartment. We will use email. We will not talk about feelings until after the lease is settled." I sent her a draft split by email that afternoon. I offered half the deposit when we moved. I offered her the couch. I asked for the bedroom set I had bought before we moved in. I asked for the cat to stay with me because I worked regular hours and she traveled. I attached receipts. She went to Instagram, a close friend's story. "Open ruins good men," the text said over a photo of her legs on a balcony. "Some people need a rule book for life." There were hearts and clapping hands in the replies. I took screenshots and saved them in record. I did not respond. Ethan's wife wrote me a message 2 days later. She found my account through a tag on a holiday photo. The message said, "I think my husband is cheating. Do you know anything about a hotel on Tuesday?" I did not dump everything on her. I wrote, "I have reason to believe there was a violation of my relationship rules with a coworker that night." She asked for proof. I asked if she wanted to see what I had. She wrote yes. I sent 2 photos, the table, the ring, the time stamp. She thanked me, then she went quiet. On Friday, HR from her company requested a meeting with me about a workplace concern. I assumed Ethan's wife had reached out to them too. I brought a simple outline of dates and only the facts that touched their policy. I did not talk about my feelings. I did not use the word open. I said, "I am a tenant on a lease with an employee. I believe a relationship between her and a coworker is active. Your policy asks for disclosure. That is all I am here to ask about." The HR rep nodded. He did not tell me anything. He wrote it down. He thanked me and walked me out. Her lies got louder. She told 3 friends I had pressured her into open and then punished her for closing it. One friend texted me a paragraph and called me a monster. I sent a link to the rules note. The parts where she had added consent check marks and wrote, "My idea to try, we can always stop." The friend went quiet and sent back, "I need to step out of this." The friend's boyfriend sent me a thumbs up emoji later. I did not reply. Ethan went dark on social media. A week later, a coworker of my girlfriend's posted a vague, "be kind at work" message. Comments mentioned HR. I stayed out of it. I took out the trash. I fed the cat. I kept my head down. We met with a mediator 10 days later. The mediator asked us to list non-negotiables. Mine were the bedroom set and the cat. Hers were the couch and the green rug. Fine. We divided the kitchen. We split the deposit. We set a date for move out. The mediator asked if we wanted a no-contact period after the move. I said yes. She rolled her eyes. We signed. 2 days after the session, Ethan's wife posted a photo of boxed books and a caption about fresh starts. Comments were kind in the way that holds a knife. A week after that, a company update showed that Ethan had left to pursue other opportunities. He had no post about it. My girlfriend's team listed an opening for his role. She did not get promoted. She got moved to a back desk project that did not touch clients. She told a friend I had tanked her career. The friend told a mutual that HR had asked questions about undeclared relationships. I had not named Ethan in my meeting. His wife had. The consequence was not mine to choose. It was theirs. By the time we moved out, I had keys to a studio across town. I packed my half. I labeled boxes. I loaded the cat into his carrier. She tried to hug him. He hissed. She cried, then took a photo of the empty couch spot and posted it with the caption, "Letting go." I signed the exit check with the landlord and took my copy. Update 3 weeks after the move, she texted. "I miss you," she wrote. "Can we talk? I made a mistake. I want real life back." I asked what she wanted to talk about. She wrote, "Us." How to fix it? I said we could meet at the coffee shop by the old apartment at noon. I said I would sit near the window. I said we would not talk about the past, only about logistics we had missed. She arrived with a soft face and a hard coat. She ordered tea and sat. She looked at my rings and wrists like she was looking for new marks. There were none. "I ended open because I was scared," she said. "I felt out of control. I thought if I shut the door, the house would be safe again. I didn't want to admit that I had already broken the window. I told myself it was your fault for wanting too many rules. It was not. It was mine for breaking them." I watched her talk. I stirred my coffee. I said nothing for a while. Then I said, "Thank you for saying that." She waited for me to add, "Now come back." I did not. "I could be different," she said. "We could start fresh. No apps, no outside anything. Therapy, date nights. I will block him. I did already." She slid her phone across the table to show me a list of blocked contacts. It felt like a stage prop. "I don't want a relationship with you," I said. "I want a quiet apartment and my cat and a life where I do not read policy pages at midnight to make sense of my house." She wiped at one eye. "Do you hate me?" she asked. "No," I said. "I am tired. I am done. That is not hate. It is the end of a job I did for too long." She bit her lip. She asked if we could at least stay friends. I said, "We can be civil. We can exchange mail. We can return items if something turns up. We will not be friends." She nodded like the word hurt and also made sense. She stood and left her tea half full. I watched the door close behind her and felt nothing but air move. Final update, 4 months passed. The lease on the old place ended clean. The deposit split hit my account and I moved it into savings. I kept the studio. The cat sat in the window and learned the light. I learned how to sleep without waking to check the front door. Her life got smaller. She stayed on the same team at work but never got back to client dinners. A mutual told me she had tried to date and ran into a wall. People in her circle knew about Ethan. People in Ethan's circle knew too. His wife filed and moved in with her sister. His LinkedIn changed to consultant and then went quiet. My ex posted quotes about healing and growth. Her likes dropped. I did not check often. I started running in the mornings, slow. I made a list on the fridge: eggs, oats, beans. I learned to cook rice right. I took a cheap pottery class and made a crooked mug the color of river water. I started therapy for 8 sessions. The therapist asked about the rules. I said we had rules and then we had weather. She said, "You can set rules around your own choices. You cannot control the weather." I wrote that on an index card and stuck it inside a book. Friends asked what Open had taught me. I said the truth in simple words. Open worked when we were honest and kind and structured. It failed when we broke rules and hid that break and then called the rule the problem. The structure was never the villain. The lie was, I dated a little, coffee only. Daylight and short. I wrote in my profile that I had tried Open, that I liked clear agreements, that I would rather be boring than vague. Some people stopped reading there. Some wrote, same. I met a librarian who liked long walks and old movies. We went slow. She asked calm questions. I answered in calm lines. I told her about the cat. She laughed and said she had a plant that hated her and she hoped the cat had advice. Ethan's wife sent me a message in month 6. It was one line. "Thank you for being straightforward," I wrote back. "I am sorry we met that way." She left it at that. Good. Not all threads need to be tied in a bow. The last time my ex reached out was a short email about a package delivered to the old place. I replied with my address and a thank you. She did not add a heart or a memory. I picked up the package at the front desk. It was a cookbook my aunt had sent. I made a soup from page 12. It tasted like something steady. I am not angry. Anger is heavy. I carry other weight now. Groceries up the stairs. A toolbox up and down when the sink drips. A bag of litter for the cat. I put those down and pick them up again. It feels like work that pays. If there is a lesson, it is small. If someone says, "Our open relationship is over," and what they mean is, "Yours is over, mine already changed shape," then you do not argue the shape. You close the door and lock it. You write down dates. You move money you are entitled to. You talk to a lawyer. You inform the people who need to know what touches their lives. Then you go make dinner. You feed the cat. You go on. I keep one thing from the whole mess in my record folder. It is not the photo of the ring on the table. It is not the hotel key card. It is the screenshot of our rules from the first week, with both our initials next to each line. It reminds me that I can be clear. It reminds me that if someone breaks a clear line, I do not have to break to match them. Tonight I washed the crooked mug and set it on the rack. The cat jumped onto the sill and watched the street. The stove clock glowed 712. I stood in my small kitchen and listened to the quiet hum of the building. I did not need a manual for this sound. It means home. It means I kept the part of love that was worth keeping, the part that makes me show up for my own life.